Welcome to the tutorial that actually shows you how to actually play the song for real on the acoustic guitar. I swear, when we first wanted to play this song this week, I scoured the internet to see if there was a tutorial, and there was not a tutorial that showed you actually how to play it. They all showed you how to play it on capo 4. Well, I'm going to try to play it with no capo, how it's actually supposed to be played, how it's actually supposed to be sound. First thing you need to know is that my guitar is tuned down to B flat because we played it today in B flat and I didn't want to retune my guitar right away. I just wanted to record this video because I was super excited about getting this out there. So it's tuned down to B flat. Everything is down on my guitar. If you want to play exactly me, everything is down a half. The only thing that's up one half step is the high E string. The high E string we're taking from an E to an F in B flat. If you're playing it in B shapes, you don't detune any of your guitar whatsoever. You keep your guitar tuned as is, except you take up that E string and you move it up to an F sharp. So if you're playing with this with the key of B, you are tuning up that high E to an F sharp. And actually what I'm playing is not an F sharp, what I'm playing is a G sharp right now because I already tuned mine up. So the shapes for this song are super simple. We play the same shapes over and over again. I'm going to teach you how to play those right now. So you start with your B, and what you want to keep in mind is that you're playing these two strings, your high E or F sharp or F, however you want to tune it. You're playing that open, and you're playing your B string open. Okay, and this sounds different than what yours sounds like. It's because mine's detuned a half step. You want to play the top part of the bar on 7, and then the last two strings are being played open, and you do that for most of the song. There's only a couple parts where you don't do that. Okay, and then the second chord you need to know is going to be the G sharp minor 7. So what we're doing, you see my hand, we're actually moving from here. We're keeping these two fingers right here. We're taking these two fingers. The easiest way to do it, keep these two fingers down, right? You are going to lift up like this, slide them down a few frets, 3 frets. You're going to wrap your thumb around and put your index down. On the fourth fret of the G string. You're playing these open, the high two strings open. Okay. The next chord you need to know is going to be your F sharp major, and you're playing again, same deal. Playing these two open. Keep in mind, the entire time all you're doing is moving these two fingers. Those fingers stay the same exact spot the entire time. You're playing that, and then you're moving it down to an E, so you're going down here. You're just moving that, taking this finger out, leaving it right here. That's the easiest way to do it. and then you're returning in the verses back up to the B up here. Remember, these are always open. Okay, those we need to know for the verse. For the chorus are the same, except the order you play them is a bit different. So same way of playing it, except now you're going from the B to the F sharp, to the E, to that G sharp minor, to the F sharp. So that's how you play that. That's the only difference. Now, in the vamp, it depends on what vamp you're at, but if you're in the vamp after the upper, bigger choruses, you're playing what I did, and that's what I communicated to the pianist, and she said, oh, it's easier anyways for me. I did add 9 instead of sus4. The 2 and the 4 can be swapped out. The 2 minor 7 and the 4 can be swapped out pretty easily in most songs, and you'll see them do that quite a bit, where there was a 4 and now there's a 2 minor 7. It's a very common thing to do in songs. But so what we're doing instead is playing an add 9, which is basically like an add 2 instead. So it works. Because we had to tune it up, it's really hard to play the sus4 up here. You have to remove this finger. But it sounds really good. Playing a full bar here. So you're barring everything off. And I communicated that to the other musicians. I said, hey, we're going to play an add 9 here instead of a sus4. So it goes. And the pianist informed me it's actually easier. So so it bridges, you're almost mimicking the chorus with a couple of variations. And you would have seen it through my mini little playthrough I did with just a guitar. But what you're doing is you're going from this B, the first bridge is here, to this, to up here. You're muting, because you're playing your B as the root, so you're muting, playing that, and you're coming back up here. Now the next bridge after that, you're doing the similar thing, except you're going here, and you're following the chorus more. You're coming here. Difference here now is you're coming up to the B and repeating. But then on the second time around you're not doing that. You're going here, and you're going to that G sharp minor. You can play it here or you can play it like this. I like it like this better though. And then the interludes where it gets really high and there's building, whatever, you play the E. It goes this for 2 bars, so. Up to the B. And it breaks down eventually. What I like to do is I like to kind of like do high. You kind of crescendo out, and then the guitar no longer plays in the song. picking pattern here. When your verses, everything is so similar except the very first chord. That's B chord. That you change it depending on where you're at. At least I changed it because I think it sounds better and it flows better and it's more harmonic. You're gonna play the B, the low E string with your thumb, and then you're gonna play this B over here on the D string with your index, and then you're playing the B string. So look at it, B, B, B. So then you're playing the high, that F sharp because we tuned it up. So you're playing that E string, and that goes back and forth. It goes, so you go boom, you go thumb, index, thumb, middle finger, thumb, the high string, and back and start over. So it goes. And you play that for the verses, the entire verses. You do that, and then of course you move it up here, and you do this. You do something similar, except now we're doing different with something different with the bass. So our thumb is gonna be, and you're gonna play a different string, playing the G string now with our index. So it goes, and our thumb's gonna come up here and play the A string. So it goes. That's the pattern here. So it goes, and you remember you're doing back and forth. So boom, thumb, index, thumb, middle. So it goes. And they're coming up to here, and they're the same exact pattern. Back up to the E. Back up here, and the hard part is getting your brain to want to come back to the D string with your index. If you have a hard time playing this with your thumb, think about how you can move your arm and your shoulder to make it work for you. If you have your arm too far down, it's going to mute it. So I like to use my arm as a lever to put more pressure into it. And I think I'm out of tune. I'm out of tune for sure. And that's the same pattern. So when we get to the chorus, the only thing that changes in the chorus here is playing, now instead of playing the D string with your index, you're playing this string, and it adds a nice treble to it. So it goes, and you also play your thumb on here. Here. This trick part here. But notice how when I went from here to here, I moved my arm up as that lever, right? It was automatic. Also keep in mind that I'm as soon as I hit this note, I'm moving it up, right? Because I'm not gonna wait for this note to be over to move it. I'm gonna move it when I can move it, which is as soon as I hit this note, I can move it because it's open. So that's the only difference. And then the strumming, follow the dynamics that your music director says for the rest of the song. But that is how you fingerpick the song. That's actually how you fingerpick this song. Because, there's two guitars in the original. So you can't get it perfectly right because there's two guitars doing two different things. But at least we can get the main part just right and sound freaking beautiful. That's actually how you play this song. I hope you enjoyed this. If you got some value, please leave a like. Please subscribe. I have more videos coming in the future. If you want to learn how to play guitar and you want to get early access to these tutorials, click the link below to join my free community. It's free right now. I don't know how long it's going to be free for, but my free community where you can learn how to play guitar live. I have more tutorials coming on there so that we can actually start playing with others and play confidently on stage and in a group or wherever you want to workshop. We also have a lot of chord charts in there that I use and my notes on those chord charts and tutorials on how to learn songs faster and all sorts of goodies in there. So check it out down below. The link's in the description. Check it out. It's on school. And YouTube thinks you're going to love this video right here. So check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.